Hello, it is Penny and Kim lighting up your Friday with the 5 stars of strengthening families. We're doing the 4-part series on parental resilience, and today's session is the 4th part of the series. So we're going to have Penny do a check-in though before we get started with that.
All right, welcome everyone. Last week we talked about why you think you may at some points get overly involved in your teens and emerging adults' choices and their life, and how you might restrain yourself from doing so. So we talked a little bit about fear and about being curious about why we think we need to be involved, and about the skills they can build when we step back and just become their support. And about shifting your perspective from being happy to being authentic. So the idea that if we want our children and teens to be authentic, we need to welcome all of the feelings, including the uncomfortable ones, and help them work through those, as opposed to looking for them to feel good and happy all the time, which is an unrealistic goal. And we challenged you just to have a look. Do you notice you do this? Do you not do this? And get curious about why you might be doing it as the first step. And then, maybe moving on to really thinking about that change in your perspective and shifting. And yeah, so we hope you had some success with that. And this week, the question is all about the joy. So we talk about difficulties, and there's lots of them when we're parenting teens. Today, I want to know what it is about parenting teens that brings you joy. Kim?
Okay, well, I cheated because I had a little time to think about this. So I'm going to dig real deep. There's many things, but one of the things that I for some reason I want to talk about is celebrating sort of all of the things that are coming to fruition. Is that the word, fruition? In the teenagers, and seeing their points of view, and seeing them, stand up for what they believe in. And sometimes this can be a real challenge, though, because it can be opposite of what we think or how we, right? So their individuation, their emergent energy in coming into themselves, and it can be sort of a little bit opposite from us. So at first it might look a little bit, it might be a little bit frustrating. But once I've been able to see, I should speak from my own perspective here, that really that's them becoming their own person and individuating. That's really something to celebrate. And I know it's a bit of a reach down in there because it can be quite frustrating. But man, when you are able to see your child becoming their own person, it is really something to celebrate, and it brings me joy. The laughter, I will say too, getting to know them as rather than a child, but more of a young person. There's a lot of laughs and a lot of happy moments too. But yeah, how about you, Penny? What brings you joy?
Yeah, quite frankly,
parenting your teenager.
I love this emerging, 10 and upward age where they're really just starting to think about more adult concepts, and their brains are just, like you said, I think last week, you'd be amazed what they can come up with, right, when they're given the opportunity. And so my oldest, yeah, it's just listening to her and watching her become herself, which, yes, sometimes can be tricky. And yet I feel a real sense of freedom, because I feel like, and I know that there's lots to do, but I feel like the hard work has been done, right? Like I've given her the foundation. And so, I wasn't perfect for the most part, so that I can maybe let go a little bit and say, okay, my ability to teach her about my morals and my values, now I just live them, right? And I'm kind of, yeah, like you said, taking the back role, the support role. And to me, that feels a little bit freeing, while scary, but just, yeah, they're quirky personalities, right? They're mostly fun.
Yeah.
And
It makes, oh, it makes me think, when you're talking about that, Penny, it makes me think of, and I don't know who said this, but you need to give your children roots, both roots and wings. And it's kind of at that point where you start to see the wings. I mean, you've been working at the roots all this time, but I mean, they have the wings even just taking their first steps, and all those things but it seems, well, I was going to say bigger, but is there anything bigger than your child taking the first steps and all of their firsts, right? So it's just a new set of firsts. And again, it's celebrating those roots that are there, and then seeing the wings. And it's tough because it's not always an easy road, but there is joy in that. There's pride, adoration, that all comes with that. For me, that's all part of it, the joy. And getting to know who they are as they grow, as they find themselves, you get to know who they are.
And I'll be completely honest that the other thing that fills me with joy is their budding competence, right? So I was not very good at the caregiving, constant contact of parenting small children. Having them physically needing me all the time was very hard for me. So now, where it's kind of more like an emotional support, and they still need to be around me and connect with me and all those things. However, they can make themselves a sandwich. They can leave me. They no longer are interested in coming to the bathroom with me, right? All of those things.
Yeah.
And I watch their competence grow, and I love that for my own selfish reasons, as well as for the fact that I feel good that they will be able to take care of themselves. So that's another one for me.
And they can make you a sandwich.
They can make me a sandwich, yes. Mother's Day breakfast is now edible.
Yes. And not burnt toast. Yum.
So, yeah. So our challenge is, may or may not be easy for you, but we want you just to shine the light on the positive. So start trying to notice when you're smiling with your teenager, or even at something they've said, when your heart feels that little bit of, oh, when you feel proud that you've raised this human, right? You can feel pride in the job you've done. Look at ways that your mannerisms come out in them, right? That's another one for me. It's like my little guy will say something and I'm just like, oh man, that just sounds exactly like something I would say. So just pick for those little tiny things, because sometimes it can be very difficult with all the feelings and the changes so when we can maybe choose to look at those times when we feel those things and pay some attention to those times. Don't let the seamlessness when it's going well pass you by, and only spend your time noticing the bumps. Spend some time noticing that seamless time. Yeah. Anything else, Kim, before we say goodbye?
I would agree. I think that's a good note to end on. Okay.
All right. So that finishes our 4 parts in parental resilience. Next week, we'll be back and we're going to be talking about communication. And we'll be starting our 4-part series on communication. So take care and thanks. And we'll see you next week.
See you, everybody.